ambiguity and uncertainty and to explore difficult topics and preconceived ideas. But I hope in listening to it, you will come away with an increased ability to understand some of the most complex aspects of being human. Facing our own mortality and uncertain future is unsettling, but if we don't do this, we miss the full richness of what it is to be alive. A person living with dementia is not defined by their illness, but their illness is still a large part of their life. Part of breaking down stigma is considering the language we use. Using disrespectful language causes harm and can diminish the personhood of someone living with dementia. To that end, I have used the phrases person with dementia and person living with dementia. Language can be tricky to always get right, but the key guiding principle is to be respectful. The Dementia Australia language guidelines state, "It is important to use language that focuses on the abilities, not deficits, of people living with dementia to help people stay positively and meaningfully engaged and retain feelings of self-worth." On a personal note, writing this book was an emotional process for me because I didn't realize how much work I needed to do in breaking down my own fears around dementia. It was also incredibly rewarding. The science of how our brains work, as well as what can go wrong, is deeply fascinating, especially in the context of the social and economic factors that influence biology. I spent time thinking about the broader issues of health and caring, and have strengthened my resolve to end the stigma. Most importantly, writing this book has improved my understanding and connection with the people I meet who are living with dementia. I hope that you find listening to it just as interesting and rewarding. Dr. Kate Gregorevic. Question 1. What is dementia, and are you at risk? It's the end of my first consultation with Dulcie and her daughter Barbara. Dulcie has had dementia for many years. Barbara is struggling because Dulcie has been getting up multiple times at night, thinking it's morning, and trying to go outside. Barbara wants to continue caring for her mother at home, but she is exhausted. She wants to know how to get help. At the end of the appointment, I ask Barbara and Dulcie if they have any final questions. Barbara pauses a moment and then asks, a little embarrassed, "What is dementia?" Barbara was embarrassed to ask this question because she felt like she should already know the answer. One of the best things about little kids is they have no qualms about admitting a gap in their knowledge. For some reason, part of reaching adulthood is becoming self-conscious about not knowing something, a barrier that overrides curiosity. The problem with going through life embarrassed to admit a gap in our knowledge is that it means missing opportunities to learn. Barbara is a caregiver and lived experience expert, and so she understands that the question, "What is dementia?" is actually very hard to answer. Dementia occurs when a disease or progressive processes cause damage and brain function is impaired enough to impact everyday life. The symptoms of dementia are the result of a brain that is no longer able to correctly take in information, interpret it, and act on it. Dementia is a syndrome or a collection of symptoms, and it can be caused by many different diseases. The onset of dementia is generally slow and gets worse over time. While there are common symptoms of dementia, it is nevertheless unique and individual to every person because our social roles differ by age, gender, education, household, family structure, and geography. The word dementia is an umbrella term for multiple diseases that cause damage to the cells of the brain, stopping them from being able to function and so leading to progressive decline.